record this. So today I'm a really very, very special guest, one of my favorite guests, Amina Ayub. Amina Ayub, she's this extremely passionate person and very committed individual, not only to her own healing, but also to supporting community. She's upcoming a social activist. Change for better, change for her. She's also having her hands in 2 projects right now, to what I remember, because it's always changing for Amina. So you're going to get to know Amina, but the reason I'm so proud to have this meeting, this webinar with her today, is because she's also ambassador of Islamically inspired therapeutics, and she basically took that work she received from me, and she is running with it through her life. And we're going to hear more about how it is for Amina to run with this and what kind of knowledge through life. But I'm going to give her a chance to say salam alaikum, shall I? Salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, assalamu alaikum, everyone. How are you?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I need to check Facebook. How are they? I'm going to check it with them on and off, but I just want to enjoy this meeting with you. All right, Amina, so beyond food relationships, that is the title of our webinar, isn't it? Why do you think this is important topic in your life and in your progress, growing as a person?
Growing as a person and in my life, I'd say that food consumes us in this, cosmopolitan world that we live in. Food is about everything, and from restaurants to home to cooking, everything is about your gut. So learning new things that not just new things, it's also the prophetic fasting and all that stuff that we already know, but we actually really don't truly understand. So tapping back into that as well. So it's been a journey, a beautiful journey, and realizing how food and relationships and everything interconnect has been an interesting journey itself, because they do interconnect. And like that saying, you are what you eat, I finally now completely understand that, and I completely and utterly believe it. You are what you eat.
But it wasn't always that clear to you, isn't it? Being part of my community, of my coaching community, brought to your attention few stuff, and one of them was, how you nourish your body. And there's a reason why it was brought to your attention, because we rely deeply on fasting, and we always come back to fasting, but we see fasting differently, isn't it, in our community? How do you think you see fasting now?
I think my depth of fasting has even changed beyond that. Yeah. Yes, we understand fasting is, it's a pillar of Islam, and we hold it up. It's one of the beautiful, Ramadan is one of those beautiful months. We treasure fasting, but I don't think I understood the depth of the power fasting has on me emotionally, spiritually, physically, mentally, that it can enrich my life in such beautiful ways. I did not know the power it has when you do it properly.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? We are not doing it properly. We are feasting, we are not fasting. Ramadan for us is about sleeping headaches, healing crisis, and going from one plate to another plate, and eventually, if we are fit, maybe for Taraweeh. But that has changed for you as well, isn't it? Because of Islamically inspired therapeutics.
That has changed completely. Come on, think about it. We wake up for Seri and we eat like, our life depends on it. Something is, somehow we're going to lapse and die throughout the day. And then by the time the evening comes, and we behave as though we've never eaten before. And for God's sake, and it's one of those things that went in my mind, is like, for God's sake, you're getting two full meals, and why are you behaving like you're never going to eat again? And that mindset, because our community is rife with food. Food is so important, prevalent, and so many feasts are cooked. Every kind of dish is cooked every day, has to be something different cooked. And learning to slow down, learning that less is more, and good food nourishes your body like nothing else. Making correct food choices is phenomenal, that it has the power to wake you spiritually, and for you to be focused in your salah at the end of the day, for you to be connected to your salahs, for you to be able to have the energy while you're fasting to do other things, and you're not, shattered by the end of the evening. And I'm only having some drinks and maybe.
I think we lost, I can't hear you. Can you hear me? It was my connection.
I can't hear you now.
We are back. All right. Yeah. So you haven't finished. And I'm so happy you haven't, because you're giving away what is it for us in this community, Islamic inspired therapeutics. But yes, we are probably easily going as a fasting or cleansing or detoxing community, isn't it? That's what became of us once we understood, what is being said about lifestyle in, through Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. It just became us. It's just our lifestyle now, and it's so different to what we experience in our families, our Muslim families and community. And that is quite estranging, isn't it? It's quite isolating. Good job we have each other, but the moment that knowledge comes to you and you run with it, just like you run with it, you are able to take a step back and not only look at food, but look at people who are they in love in food, isn't it? And you can no longer connect. We can no longer go back, isn't it, Amina?
You can no longer go back. And it's also that thing that when I now put food in my mouth, I know it's a choice I've made. The wrong choices of food. I'm talking about, we need to eat, we need to sustain ourselves, we need to nourish ourselves, we need to have the energy to do the things that we are doing. But understanding the choices of food I'm making, and when it goes inside my body, the impact it has on my body also reflects on how much energy, how I handle myself, how I handle my relationships. It's all interconnected, and it has an impact. And connecting those dots for me was huge. And you're right, I can't go. And I do have days when I slip and I slide. But this is part of the journey. Now, this is how many years of bad habits, how many bad years of bad choices that now I am trying to change and rectify, and expecting to do it all in one go. It's not going to happen. It's a journey, it's stages that I take. And every time I change something a little bit else, and everything I take something away and replace something else with it, which is good and nourishing, it's a good step in the right direction. So it's all good, alhamdulillah. It is that thing that you do have bad days, you do, and you have to learn. You have to learn, isn't it, to pick yourself back up.
You do, but you're saying it's only days, isn't it? Before it was every day. It was day in, day out, and now you're stepping out and you are conscious of your food choices. I like what somebody said. I'm not too sure if it wasn't you yourself in our community, that in Asian community, food is opium. Food is addictive, is one of those addictive behaviors. Was it? Yeah, that this community has, and once you learn how to look beyond, the new doors are being opened to you, and new connections with your souls, they happen. And I think all of you sort of went through one stage to another to discover that as well within yourself. And I don't know what is it that you are ready to share here with us, but how was it for you? Once you were ready to see beyond the opium, beyond the addictiveness of the food.
It was realizing I'm making the choices, nobody else is making them for me. Yeah, that was a big what you say, big tick box or big, think bomb that happened, that, okay, nobody else is forcing this food down me. Nobody else is making these choices for me. I am making these choices for me. So, and I'm cooking the food. I'm buying the ingredients. So where does that blame lie? So if I'm taking the healing journey and I want to heal and I want to invest in myself, in my health, in my self-development, and this is across the board, it didn't just start with, it started with health, but the impact of it has been on my personal development, on my relationships, how I handle, how I conduct myself. And in this past year, I am doing things I never thought I would be doing.
Yeah, tell me about it, because you said you've discovered this amana, this profound relationship with I'm responsible. This comes from me. Therefore, the consequences are coming back to me, nobody else's. But then you're finishing, and that led me to something amazing. Tell me about that journey. If you can share.
That journey is about rectifying and understanding my relationships are important, and how I handle them important. When I'm nourished and I'm healthily nourished, I can handle the good and the bad beautifully. When I'm not putting food inside of me that is not good, and I am slumped, I am exhausted, and my stomach is heavy, my ruh is heavy, connecting those. So how my relationships are affected. I'm not handling my relationships correctly. And when I'm not handling my relationships correctly, I'm not handling my self-development correctly. And when I started making those changes in my diet, in my things, little things, I am now a student. I have been a student for a long time, but my connection to my studies is different. I am, doing my degree. I'm doing this, course with you within our therapeutic group. I am also studying my Alima course that I'm doing, and the Tajweed classes. So I have a full board going. I have a family as well.
Yes, you do, don't you?
Yeah, and I have a family as well. But I am enjoying it. I'm loving. I have energy to sit, and a passion that it was always there, but it was stuffed somewhere underneath all that food. But once the food issue has been slowly being taken away, that passion has risen, and how I handle myself in my classes, how I handle myself when I'm writing my assignments is different. It's completely different. And
many people say in our community that the mind fog is gone. The mind fog is gone. But I think you are explaining it so well right now. What does it mean, mind fog? Isn't it? You becoming your superhero self, isn't it? That's what it is when it's gone.
The light bulb keeps coming on. I will have an epiphany. Oh God, I could write that. That's interesting. Okay,
exactly.
let's make a note here. I need to go back and research that and actually understand. Oh, I can ask. Oh, what about that question? I need to ask my lecturer about that question. You're having epiphanies, and my study has changed and enriched, and I'm having conversations with people that are extraordinary. And it's just food. And when you think about it, it's just food. And understanding my relationship with food, making better choices, has opened doors that are absolutely phenomenal.
So what is it right now? Because there are opportunities coming your way. People are actually asking you for your expertise right now, isn't it? For your support.
Yes. For my support, for my expertise, I am now also volunteering for an organization, and they deal with all sorts from our community, but the advice I am getting there, the help I'm getting there, but then at the same time, the advice they're taking from me, they're reaching out to me and saying, okay, what do you think? What's your opinion on this? What's your stance on this? Could we try this? And that's different ball game for me. That's a totally different ball game for me, that I'm being sought out by people. And it's that whole thing that now I understand, what you seek is seeking you. So now if you're portraying the goodness within you, you're passionate, you're sharing that likeness inside of you, is reflected back at you, isn't it? That whole hadith about your brother is the mirror of you. Now, if you are a good mirror, you will get a good mirror back. And when you're improving, you're finding people who are improving, who are bettering themselves, who are good, wholesome company. And it changes you. So, yeah.
I mean, to me, because I'm probably a few years ahead of you, but to me, this paradigm shift in terms of relationship choices, choices and relationship with your digestion, really, because that's what it is. We should eat for our digestion, not for our senses, and it's other way around for majority of us, unfortunately. The moment I understood, and I applied this routine, which we have in our community as well. I've connected with my nerves properly, but not nerves the highest level, something that you're describing. I mean, I had those as well, epiphanies. I had firasha, I have basira. I write more poems. I wrote my book on this system, right? I get it, but there's a flip side to it, and there's nafs amara as well. Your shadow self, your gremlins, you're ugly, and that wasn't easy. That wasn't easy to face. But the moment I've incorporated all the therapeutic, and I knew quite a few ways to help myself, and I've combined them with somatic wisdom, which is ruhani. Yeah. Oh my God, that was a complete game changer, wasn't it? I could face my shadow self without anyone holding myself. I mean, this idea of fasting, but properly fasting, which we now know it's called cleansing or detoxing, right? Gave me an insight to myself and gave me the strength that I've never knew that I had, and I'm running through it for years right now. How was it for you, Amina? That nafs amara, the flip side of working on yourself.
You said the ugly. The ugly is so hard to face, and you can't pinpoint and blame others for your own ugliness. And that's a hard battle to look at yourself in the mirror. And when you are not stuffing yourself with food, you have no choice but to look at your ugly. And then you have to look at that ugly and say, okay, I can't run away from it. Wherever I go, it goes with me. So what am I going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? And then it's also that challenge of knowing that I'm going to slip, I'm going to slide, I'm going to make mistakes, but I have to keep getting back up and keep facing this ugly, because I cannot stay with this ugly. I need to get better. And it is those moments of sheer ugliness that you have to strive the hardest to get to the other side. But when you get to the other side, it's something else, something you can't explain to somebody.
You can't. You have to experience it, isn't it? You just have to experience that.
And it's so beautiful, and it's so rewarding, and it gives your soul so much hope for better. Yes. And once you've tasted it, you have to constantly find your way back to it.
And I think that's what we and I think that's what we always talk about, isn't it, in our community? I so long for that moment when I am at the peak of my fasting, at the peak of my cleansing. I can't wait till Ramadan, and we're like, okay, let's not wait till Ramadan. Let's do it every seasonal change. Let's do it in those special moments in the month. Like, I don't know, there is a hadith for Monday and Thursday, but there's also hadith for full moon. So we're using those opportunities to meet ourselves, and through meeting ourselves, I mean, to me, it's always about sakina. That sakina, it seems to be something that I need.
Yeah, but because your soul is searching for it, and I never understood that before this food relationship had to be understood, that your soul is searching for sakina. We can't get sakina that we're talking about in Jannah. That sakina is not for this world, but the sakina of contentment of where you are is something our soul, our ruh is craving.
Tell me about it. Tell me about this roof that your nerves craving it and your roof craving it. Because I remember speaking to you some time ago, and you said, Aisha, I've studied this, I've studied that, and that was giving me fulfillment, but I knew that there was something missing. And I think that was your soul telling you something is missing, isn't it?
Something. this is why I'm studying my health and social sciences degree. My conversations in my lectures are amazing. But then I'm studying Alima course, and my teachers, my fellow peers are all amazing. But that connection, you're having beautiful conversations. They're all up here, intellectually leveled, amazing, and you're trying to put the world to rights, and they're amazing, conversations. But there's something missing, because there's also that thing, but you're saying that and you can do it to this level, but you can't do it to get to the greater level, because you have to dampen yourself down, because you need to stay somewhere comfortable here, because you're now far reaching yourself. And I was always constantly, okay, why if we're trying to improve our community, if we're trying to better ourselves, if we're trying to better our environments, why are we stopping here? Why are the conversations not taken to the next level? Why is the rule still stopping somewhere here? And he was like, there's something missing, some connection that I am not getting. And my questions here, I get them answered, but they're answered at this level here of intellectuality, but my rule is not satisfied with the answer.
And then historically inspired therapeutics came your way, wasn't it? And you didn't know that it will be the answer, but something told you, I remember you, Aisha, I need to do it. I need to find a way. I was like, oh, something spiritually going on there for her. Do you think that was that missing piece?
That was that missing piece. Remember when we did the multiple intelligence course, the pre-run to this course, taster sessions, so I should say the taster sessions, right? And they were eye-opener.
Wow.
I went, oh, okay, click. Okay, if look, that was the question I asked. There's the answer here, but it's talking about from level of ruh to level of intellect to level, my qalb, all these nafsiyat, these things that are part of who we are as human. You were answering them. And we have theories galore in this community that of research. But those theories, how they're implemented within our Islamic mindset, the connection wasn't there. And you somehow brought it together and it clicked. I was like, okay, this was a taster. But then that taster was going through my mind. And when you started this course, I was umming and ahhing, how am I going to, I want to do it, but how am I going to do it? I know I need to go to the next stage. I need to learn more. This was just the taster and I need to do more. I need to understand more. And I think I took a leap of faith. I did take a leap of faith. I took a jump. And that jump was amazing. And I'm going to say it was the best jump I made at that time. It was the best jump I made for me, for my family, because the impact it's having, positive impact it's having on me, is having that same knock-on effect on my children, my home life. In my studies, there's even my career now. How was I supposed to know a year ago that the arena of social change is where I'm going to go?
It happened. It happened somewhere in between, isn't it? It happened somewhere in between when we got together, when you realize, I know myself now. This is what I'm this is what I'm meant to do. And like this, things were starting happening to you one after another, and they were not overwhelming anymore because you were holding yourselves in safety.
And every time where I've slipped and slide, and like you said, the ugly that we have to deal with on the daily, we're correcting relationships here, we're correcting habits here, so it doesn't happen overnight, so that you have to deal with the ugly as you go along. But facing that ugly, every time it's shown me, I can do better, I can be better. There's hope at the end, there's light at the end of the tunnel, there's always hope. And that's
you talk about it so nicely. I am not nice in our coaching course. I am so bold. I am so straightforward. I'm always. How come you
throw bombs on
it that way?
You throw bombs on us, but those bombs also motivate us to do something else. So, and I think that's the whole purpose of knowledge though, isn't it? It's not about keeping us at this level.
Absolutely.
It's about lifting ourselves up and growing and improving, and that's where self-development comes in. There's no purpose in that education, that we're gaining that knowledge and we're doing nothing with it. And I remember you saying, and not just you too, this past year, it's just not just you, but another teacher of mine, my ustada, both constantly, one after the other, both of you saying to me, okay, you're learning this stuff, but where are you giving your sadaqah? And I went, I give sadaqah all the time. No, sadaqah of your time. We're not talking about your money, sadaqah of your time, sadaqah of your knowledge. Where are you giving your sadaqah of your time and your knowledge? And it was reiterating in my mind non-stop, like, okay, what do I need to do? Where do I need to give back? Allah has given me this. So how and where do I give this back? And the opportunity came and opened, and I am giving that back in a beautiful, different way now. And it's all thanks to the bombs that you keep throwing at us.
It's amazing, isn't it? How I met majority of my students. Well, you're not my students. You are extension to my family. We have such a beautiful sisterhood bonding there, and we are our extensions to each other families. It's such a joy to see you all there, subhanAllah, on a weekly basis. This is my blessing, but it's not all nicey, isn't it? It's really not all nicey.
Challenging.
Yeah.
It's challenging. You challenge us. Okay, you're dipping here, so what are you going to do? Okay, you're now going too lofty, but you're missing the point over here. So you bring us back and you challenge us. And that's the whole purpose of learning. That's the whole purpose of developing. Now, and you have to face the ugly to do it. And there's no going around it. And every time you go around it, you're going to be pulled back to that ugly. You're still not facing this. So how about we face this? So it's a journey of lots of ups and downs, a lot of challenges, but there's hair in it. There is such beauty in it too, that you can't, there's no words for it.
You have to experience it. I really think there's no words to it. The moment you deeply know yourself, the moment you go into relationship with yourself, and the moment you understand what amana really is in Afia, which is a lifestyle in Islam as well, there's no words for it. You just become a different person. You become who you're supposed to be. And I've seen it on you. I'm so proud and so happy for you. I'm your first cheerleader. You know I am.
I know you're my cheerleader, and you need somebody backing you. And we have a community now that which you have created for us, where we know that we can rely on each other. We can pick up a text message or Facebook message and say, look, I'm struggling with this, or I need help with this, or okay, I've got this question, how? And we've become a support network for each other. And women empowering women, and how beautiful is that?
Yeah, and women, I think that's another level of healing and self-work, isn't it? To understand that you can't do it yourself, and that's what Islamic Inspired Therapeutic is for all of us, including myself as well. Now, speaking about sadaqah, meaning dawah as well, because it's not only about Islamic knowledge, but with us it is. I wonder if we could give commit to some giveaways by before we finish the session. What is it that we're ready to let everyone here, or maybe consider from the perspective of Sunnah diet and fasting and prophetic fasting, and our minimalistic approach to relationship with food? What is it that we prepared to share with others? What are our giveaways today? What do you reckon? I follow you.
I would say keep it simple. Don't complicate it. The more we cook, the more we take all the nutrients, we're stuffing so many spices, and they're good, but if they're used in a proper way. But we are cooking our food to death.
Yes,
getting rid of all the nutrients, the vitamins, nutrients, all these things that our body actually needs to conduct itself, to handle itself, to heal itself, and learning the somatic self, that the body is self-healing. But how is it supposed to self-heal when I am not putting the right foods inside? So I would say don't overcomplicate it. Simple. The simple is best.
And that's how it
don't-
was with Prophet, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
we're going months. There's Hadith saying that 3 months they were going without cooking, something that you are just, mentioning, something that became part of your diet as well. I don't cook every day for myself. I don't feel I need it. I don't feel my body is requiring cooked food every day. It's ridiculous to think that you need to kill vegetables in meat, on a daily basis.
And that's the other thing I would say, realizing I'm not a meat fan anyway, and I always wasn't. But you have other people in your home that you're catering to. So when you're cooking meat and stuff like that, and you cook, and your body's craving vegetables, but now you're eating meat because you've cooked meat. And understanding that we need to balance it all. That's the other thing. I would say don't cook your food to death, keep it simple, and the balance. Realizing there's a beauty in every piece of food, and having a healthy, balanced diet is better for you than over-processed, overcooked food.
So
And
just to clarify, we're talking about raw food here, isn't it? We're talking about raw food, the one as close to nature as you can get.
And the organic, now understanding from our, there's now research upon research out there done how wholesome organic food is good for you. But the Prophet and our lifestyles back, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, was what? Farming, eating food from farming. You farmed your land, you ate that food, and it was the best, and you ate what you produced that day, that month. You dried the food that was excess, and you use that for your winter. So you were eating by season. That's another thing. I would say eat seasonally.
Great giveaway, yeah.
Yeah, that, eat seasonally, eat simply, eat wholesomely, good organic. Now, with the majority of good organic food now in this day and age, it is expensive. And that's the other drawback. So if you have gardens, start planting your own seeds.
I love it. Another one. Yeah. And you mentioned something, my giveaway is that you mentioned a balance. And I think majority of people who are not where we are, they're thinking, oh, maybe balance throughout the day. What is it that they're talking about? And it's more than a balanced food throughout the day. I mean, you should get yourself to the point where you're eating 2 meals a day or 1 meal a day. That's it, full stop. You should get yourself to the point when you are living balance, which is mizan, right? Something mentioned in Quran as well. Allah created everything in the mizan, everything in proportion. So if you reflect on that, your yearly routine should also be in mizan. And we, as a human race, we were going through different seasons, because you mentioned seasons, right? Different seasons of the year, and there were seasons where we were starving, and that is winter season. And there were seasons we were feasting, and that wasn't Ramadan, guys. It was actually summer, right? And we, yes, truly, we were eating from land. And even before we were farmers, the animal in our system was probably twice or thrice a year, and it wasn't a case of this being sprinkled with different preservatives, but you literally sacrificed it, and then you ate it as it was. You ate it fresh, and then there was no preservation, wasn't it? So you shared it with others, and that's what Sunnah is about. We don't understand, when somebody was invited for feast, it wasn't the case of going to butchers. There was no butchers. It was a case of them sacrificing their own sheep or whatever and sharing that freshness.
And there was so much meat. And how much was one family going to eat? So how about you distribute? And waste is another thing. Don't waste. Don't waste your food. So share it out. So these are the things that the Prophet, that prophetic lifestyle has. Now, if you look at it in that simple form, that food was available, they had food, but they didn't eat food the way we did, and their food was absolutely wholesome. It was, the sheep or the goat or the, whatever they were eating, it was nurtured by the farm and the land, and that land was pure, and it had its preserved. It hadn't been plundered, raped, exploited to such a level that our land has been today.
Absolutely.
And for those reasons, though, that food had barakah in it, and it was wholesome, and it sustained them better than the food we are eating today. We have preservatives in anything. If you read, the stuff that's in just a bottle of water at the moment, it's like, okay, why does that need to be in a bottle of water? So you got to think about it on a packaging, what else is going in there. So
So
we're
that's
putting this
another
inside.
giveaway, isn't it? Read the labels, and if you can stay away from labels and go for wholesome,
Oh,
isn't it? And I think I
and it's
want to
also
underline. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
it's also that thing that hadith about not making your stomachs a graveyard. And I don't think the Prophet was talking about just meat. Meat was scarce. They grew their land, and it was grew food on their land. Aisha, I'm sorry, I mean something. No, I am sorry. My daughter has decided to come and see her. Say hello to the cat that's sleeping on my bed.
It's okay. You are mother. We can sympathize with you. So go on. This hadith about the graven. That's quite interesting insight you have.
I have a completely different insight of it. And I don't think the Prophet was talking about just meat. Meat was not, it was grown on the land. So you didn't have it produced every day, that you'd have a chicken every day to eat. They let it grow naturally. It became of age where it needed to be sacrificed. The lamb or the sheep or, something that needed to be it was given years, given time to grow before it was
Yes, and names,
sacrificed.
isn't it? Professor Tom, he had
Yeah.
names for his animals, so there was intention relationship with it as well.
Yeah.
So what was it, do you
So
think, in that hadith that he was talking about?
he was talking about everything from lentils to beans to vegetables to dates to fruit to nuts. That he was talking about that whole thing, that your stomach is not a grave. They say that you need a morsel, you just need a handful to sustain you. So if you just need a handful to sustain you, why is every meal filled to the brim? Our plates are loaded.
Absolutely. And mono diet, isn't it? It's never a case of them using more than 5 ingredients for cooking. If you look at his favorite dishes, it's like it blows your mind.
And now we have dishes that have 29, 30 ingredients in it.
Mm.
Where is 5? Where are those ingredients? And then they are going into your body. So you have to simplify it. Don't complicate it. That's the major lesson I think I took. That if that's the prophetic idea, that you are living off the land and it has to grow, and then it's the ethical side of it as well, isn't it? That where's the ethical side in our community today? The big farmer is doing what now? And we as Muslim are ethical. We have to be ethical. And does that animal need to be sacrificed? Do these tomatoes need to be grown? Who are the people? We as a country here, how much food do we waste? And there are people out there who are starving, who need food. These are things as a Muslim, not even just as a Muslim, I would say just general as a humanitarian aspect. These are things and questions we should be asking ourselves. Now, we don't need this kind of food. We don't need our supermarkets to be jam-packed with that much food that is going to waste. We have people living on streets who are not eating. And where is this food going? So we have got to be aware of that there's implications on every cycle of this food cycle. And I think that's what I've taken away from this, that balance is not just about meat. It's not, that hadith is not just about meat. The Prophet ﷺ was talking about a lifestyle.
Absolutely.
About qadar. He was talking about respecting and having gratitude for what Allah has given it, and not treating with such disrespect and not exploiting it. And we are exploiting it.
And what role do you think the Sunnah plays in terms of fasting and cleansing as well? What is your take right now on it? Because you're not only my ambassador, you graduated with the Hadith module, but also you are at the state of pure food consciousness, pure Rouhani consciousness right now. So from that perspective, what do you think that that should play a role in our yearly afia?
In our daily afia, that the sunnah was to fast Monday and Thursday. The sunnah was to fast on the full moon, the white days. And these were done every month. And even the Prophet, if there was just, if he came home and he didn't see any food cooked or any food around, he would just fast.
Yeah, that strikes me the most. This is my favorite. This was my awakening hadith, actually, because I realized that it was normal for them to fast like that. It's like, just like for us, scrolling for our phone is normal. It was that mindset, isn't it? It was that consciousness. It was that lifestyle. And we are nowhere near. We are nowhere near.
We are just, we are now at the brink of just starting this, right? We are nowhere near that level. But that's where we need to get to. And that's where our aim is. And I think that is what for fasting to me now has become, that this is a way of life. This is not something you do once a year and then walk away and say, when next year comes, I will fast again. This is now a thing that every month that I do try to fast on the Monday and the Thursday, and I still try to do the white days. But how I'm fasting in that detox of what I'm putting inside my body, I'm very conscious of it. And there are days when I've fasted and I've come home and I've decided to have a takeaway, or I've decided to cook something that is not healthy. Those days do happen. But then the next time I fast, I'm conscious. You made that mistake on Monday. Today's Thursday. Do you need to have that slump and that food coma? Do we need to go down? This is the conversations now that are happening inside my brain. Do you actually need that food coma? These are the questions and the things I'm asking my room and myself now.
I think it's taking yourself to accountability before you being taken to accountability, isn't it? Because, and I think this is where we're going to finish, because Amina, truth to be said, we can continue like this for another 3 hours. But I think, but I think where I am right now, I don't know where you are right now, is that, if we are going to be asked, what have we done with our life, including with our jism, with our body, and that also includes the daily routine or monthly routine or yearly routine with food, with food relationship. So it is seriously important, and I treat it so seriously. It's one of the most important modules which carries on and on and on in our community, just because of that mindset. Where are you right now at the end of our session? What comes up for you?
That I'm happy of the journey I've taken this year. I'm proud of the fact that I've took this journey this year. I'm proud of the things I have learned. I'm proud of the changes I have made. It doesn't stop here. It doesn't seriously stop it. This is just the beginning. And I think that's where I am at right now, that this is just the beginning. And like we said, this is a lifestyle change now. And this is a mindset change. It's a reset to all that. So this is just the beginning.
Oh, the beginning. Thank you so much for your presence, for sharing your authentic you. It must have taken so much of you. Thank you so much for the tips, for giveaways, and thank you for being wonderful you. It was such a joy to have you here. I'm going to stop the recording now, inshallah, but it's one of many, inshallah, for you for the future to come, right, Amina?
Yes, inshallah. Thank you for having me.
Hey, salam.